You know this situation when you've been filming for the whole day and there is a shot that is not quite right, so you say the thing that you should preferably never say. We'll fix it in post. And then you spend a whole week trying to fix everything you did wrong. I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. So I want to check something. I know that one of the worst things that you can screw up is lighting. But what if you didn't care about the lighting at all? Can you fix it in post? So this is the shot that has been lit with ceiling lights only. This is bad for several reasons. A. The quality of these lights is atrocious. B. They create uniform lighting that is not going to allow us to see the depth or what is the focus of this scene. And C. They create ugly, harsh shadows on our subject's face. Well, on my face. So can we fix it using my mediocre color grading skills? Let's find out. I decided to go with a short clip so I wouldn't have to spend hours trying to correct tracking of various effects. So the first thing we need to do is to balance the shot, which is typically not hard. We just navigate to the raw tab and change the color temperature until we are satisfied. But these lights have been poorly calibrated and have bad CRI, so we are not going to achieve perfect balance this way, but thankfully it is not a big problem. So let's open vector scope and nudge this color temperature until we are good. Now let's use the first node to continue our balance. We'll use gain, gamma and lift to establish the right contrast. Now name the first node balance and move over to the second node, which is going to be called push/pull. We're going to introduce some warmth to the highlights and subtract it from the shadows. But we do not want to have colored shadows, so we switch to log wheels and neutralize this bluish color in the shadows and control it with the range slider. Now let's create a third node and call it face, because we're going to work on the face, obviously. For this we're going to use a face refiner. Find it and apply it on the current node. Click Analyze and let it do its thing. Disable Show Overlay. Check the skin mask and then play with the parameters to make the face of the subject to stand out just a little bit. Now the next node is for glow, because it is going to create a little gradient and make our image not so bland and uniform looking. But in this instance, if we apply it to the whole image, it is going to highlight our brightest parts even more, and we do not really want that. So we're going to limit our glow effect using qualifier. We are going to increase the high soft and then move high parameter until we exclude the brightest parts from our selection. Now this is better. We're gonna move this node to the end of the pipeline so that we can select portions of our image without glow messing with it. I want to reduce our highlights a little bit, so I create another node and use HDR wheels to tone them down just a touch. Now I'm going to create 3 parallel nodes to work on the background, short and watch band. I'm going to create a circular window on the subject, shape it, feather and invert the selection. This way I can reduce the highlights of the background, making it a little bit dimmer. The next node is for the short. I'm going to select it with a qualifier and then use saturation and hue to make it attract less attention. And the next node I'll use to change the color of the watch band a little bit. I just wanted to have a more orangey color, that's it. Now, I do not really like that those highlights on the wall have a really strange orangey color, so I will return to the balance node, switch to the log wheels and cool them off a little bit, and then use high range to control that selection. Let's now try to experiment a bit and add a contrast pop to the node created after glow. And if I like the effect, I'm going to keep it. It is really subtle and I like it, so I'm going to keep it. And the last node is going to be for film grain, because it is going to conceal some rough edges. The result is far from being perfect, but considering this image was lit with cheap ceiling lights, I'm quite pleased with the result. So what's the conclusion? Some situations can be saved with color grading, but do everything you can while you are on a set. Well, that's kinda obvious, isn't it? Well, thanks anyway, and goodbye. By the way, later I tracked the watch band selection with a power window because it messed just a little bit with the skin, and it's never good.